What is up, RetroManiacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike, and I will be your guide for the most excellent adventure we're going on today. And we're going on with these two guys, the Socrates and the Napoleon of our Monday morning history report. Here they are, Joe Day and EP Eric Halleck. How you doing, boys?
Guys, you can't tell, but EP's really short.
That was a long way to go to make an EP short joke, but I thought the viewers deserved it. Yeah,
like I could put EP in my pocket, a little boop. I could just put him right in my pocket, a little boop, right there.
He is so small in real life. Yeah,
it's a little guy.
It's a double white pocket you break in, but
well, yeah, for sure. But I didn't want to say that. The EP bots would be after me for fat shaming, so I
do not want to tick off the EP bots.
Yeah, exactly.
How's it going, boys? What is new and exciting? A fresh new week here. Our history report is over. Fresh new week, yeah. Fresh new week.
I'm finally kind of recovered from 4th of July, so that's good.
Nice.
I will not be joining EP in a drink. I suspect you're not having a drink.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I just had to make sure.
Is it a day of the week that ends in your last name? I'm having a drink.
Yeah, so I will not be partaking today, but yeah, pretty fun little Friday. Partook in some adult beverages, some swimming. Well, no, floating. I wasn't really swimming. I told Rob that. I go, I was swimming a lot on Friday. And he goes, what, were you doing laps? And I said, okay, floating would be a better way to describe that. But yeah, so I had a good time. So I'm in full recovery. I'm drinking iced tea, but that's pretty much it for me. I don't have it in my possession yet, but I am negotiating on a big pickup. I've been selling stuff. We talked about this before. I've been selling a bunch of stuff because you have to sell if you want to buy. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. I don't want to like you see there's an empty area up here.
Oh geez.
Right? Because I sold a Leonard Nimoy autograph because I found an upgrade. I like that autograph better. So I found one. I purchased that one. First thing I did is I sold the other one because you can't collect and you can't keep everything. So I've been selling off some stuff to buy a pretty sizable collection from someone who actually I've been interacting with this guy. He's a retired police officer from Quebec. Okay. And right before he retired, or maybe right after he retired, he was head of security for this big Comic Con type card show or Comic Con type show in Quebec. And he met Shatner, Stewart, Takei. He met all these big time Star Trek and other, obviously other stuff. But he was telling me stories about them in the green room and everything. He's just really, really interesting guy. He's probably watching now. How's it going, Gordon? But anyway, really, really interesting guy. And he has this massive Star Trek collection. I'm buying a penance of it, a little piece of it to help me with some of my stuff. But I'm helping my buddy John and other buddy Jeff. We're putting some sets together. But yeah, so I've been selling some stuff, boys. You got to. You can't put the hobby on a credit card. We might talk about that a little bit later. But still.
You might be able to, but yeah.
A little teaser for you for ahead. But yeah, that's what I'm up to. Not too terribly much, but yeah, buying a collection.
It's been the great Joe Day sell-off, the great sell-off of 2025. You've been selling quite a bit of stuff. It was some really big time stuff. That's cool to see. Cool that you're building those the Star Trek sets. I'm having a beverage, of course. I mean,
of course.
Yeah, have to. But yeah, I've been working on the collection that I bought from Mike, the football collection. Well, the first half of it that I have here.
Yeah, still half of it here in my house.
Right.
I walked in the room the other day. I'm like, oh, shit, that stuff's still here.
Freaking EP. Yeah. I've been going through it though. I've been finding a lot of awesome stuff. Finding some cards to keep, some cards I need to go through to see if I want to keep them, like Tiki Barber cards. I pulled aside the Jerome Bettis cards and the Mark Bavaro cards. And yeah, I'm just having a good time going through. And you see a lot of names you forgot. You see a lot of players on teams that you forgot they played for the teams. Like I was talking about with guys, Torrey Holt has a card with him in a Patriots uniform, and Joe looked it up, and he only was on the practice squad. But yeah, he has a card in the Patriots uniform. We all think of him as the Rams guy, but he had played for also the Jaguars. I think maybe one other team.
It was just Jags and the Patriots.
Was it? Okay.
Preseason. Okay. So yeah, after the Rams.
Yeah. So, I mean, just a lot of fun going through that. Very nostalgic. And I'm having a blast. I'm separating the cards out into ones that I think I'm going to have to sell in bulk just as is. And then ones that I can take to the card show and sell. And pulling out a few of the bigger ones here and there to sell on eBay as well. So, having a good time.
I have a great idea for you, EP. I think maybe you should find a really cool card from that collection. Maybe do it on 3 cards.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll have to look through and find
idea,
really cool.
I don't want to tell you how to do 3 cards or anything, but I think that would be a great opportunity to, find a player that you really like, an esoteric pick, if you will.
Yeah.
And use them on 3 cards. I think that would be fun.
Well, thanks, Joe. I'll definitely do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I like it.
See you Friday.
Brainstorming here, right here,
live
on Monday morning after our history report. Yeah. Fun stuff. Yeah, I had a lot of fun going through that collection, EP. So I wish I had time to go through it again, but I put a lot of hours into one time. Yeah, I just can't do it again. So hopefully you find some really good cards that I missed there. I did a little something that might come back to bite me in the butt. I may be buying a couple Tom Brady cards from a guy. But whether or not I'm going to get them, I don't know, because he said he was going to ship them this past Saturday, but I didn't hear from him this past Saturday. Now, this is somebody I bought something from before, but I mean, yeah, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm always nervous when I buy something. If I don't get them, I'll kick myself for trusting somebody. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
You already paid?
I did pay, yes. So for 2
goods
cards.
and services.
No, I had to pay him. Well, I had to pay him with Apple Cash. So yeah.
Well, you bought from this person before, so
I did. I bought like $250 worth of comic book cards from him before, and he got them shipped to me, and they came in a couple days. So we'll see. He's a couple hours behind us, so I did send him a message asking if he shipped. I haven't heard back yet, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe this is time. I kind of think like why I'm of the belief of if you already sent stuff one time, you sold stuff to me, and you are somebody who has things to sell, like the amount of money this is for, I feel like kind of not worth it to scam somebody over. But you're always uncomfortable in a situation like this until you actually have the cards in hand. So we'll see. And then if I have the cards in hand, knowing that they're real will be another thing. But we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe comment down below. Prayers for Mike. Prayer up.
maybe they had a 4th of July party like Joe had, and maybe he had to recover Saturday, and that's what he just had to recover harder than he expected. So
I was actually shipping a couple of cards that I sold off on Saturday, and I had already packed them up on Thursday night. And so I had to get them into the mail on Saturday. That was rough getting out to the mailbox before the mail came. I'm just throwing that out there. That 10 or 20 step walk to the mailbox was rough. So maybe yes, maybe that's what it was.
We shall see. Although we did the deal on the 4th at night, so I'm thinking maybe.
Oh wait,
maybe,
was he a little tipsy at that point? Maybe was he like wasn't thinking straight and like how about
I don't think so. Plus, he had a bunch of other players. Like he sent me the text, I think, originally on Thursday, and I didn't get back to him until Friday. And he had already gotten rid of a lot of the other players' cards. So, like I feel like if you were really trying to scam somebody, you would have not gotten rid of them.
Right, exactly. So you're probably safe, but you're always nervous until you get cards in hand.
I mean, it's a risk. I know it's a risk. It's amount of money that's not going to put me out of my house if I lose that. Hopefully everything works out. So, guys, we haven't talked about it because we're not going, but the National is not very far away. I have FOMO. I'm not even going to lie to you. I actually looked a couple weeks ago, and there was like a room at a place like right across the street from it. And I was like, oh man, I could go, I could drive, but I chose not to. But anybody else feeling FOMO? I actually am starting to feel a little FOMO.
Yeah,
Oh.
because I fly. I'd be willing to fly. I'm just throwing that out there.
I know.
Our friend of the channel, Brad, Card Guy 72, I think, on Instagram. He actually reached out and said, "Are you guys going to the national?" And I think he thought it was a bit that I was saying, "Well, Mike doesn't fly." I'm like, no, that's not a bit. Mike does not
No, it's
fly.
not a bit.
And it's just like on that cusp of being too far to drive. Like we'd have to stop somewhere halfway, get a hotel for the night, and then go the rest of the way, and probably do the same thing on the way back. So, and the way back would be way worse because the way back is always worse.
Yeah.
So you'd have to do that. But I'm with you, Mike. I had zero FOMO for Fanatics Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Zero.
Right.
And I wish I would go to I would really love to go to a San Diego Comic-Con at some point in my life. But I don't get a ton of FOMO from that. This, after going twice, after having a lot of fun both times, a little bit of FOMO, a little bit. But,
there's just so much out there to see. And after seeing the Frank Thomas no name on front, like that's one of those unicorn type cards that you might never see in your life, and they had one there at the last national. So yeah, I mean, I was thinking about I was out for a walk on Thursday, I think it was, and I started thinking about it as I'm walking, and I was listening to a sports card podcast in my ears, and they were talking about the national. Like, man, it was one. I do listen to ours, but I do listen to like 3 other ones. So yeah, but I mean, it is. I definitely miss it. I was definitely thinking about how much fun we had, and it'd be cool to go back. Hopefully they bring it somewhere close.
If it's in Atlanta, I'll tell you what, we have to go. Atlanta and Detroit are close. Yeah. I think if we do every other year, if it's within reason, if we do every other year, I think that would be fun.
Well, it's in Chicago the next 2 years too. So
that's right.
Atlanta would be 2028, I think.
And we could all be
EP would say, we might not.
I was thinking it. I wasn't gonna say it, but it's like 28. That's pretty far out, man. I don't know.
Oh man. Oh well. I'm sure there will be a lot of cards sold there, but not as many that were sold in June online, because the hobby had its biggest online sales month ever in the month of June. There were $305 million worth of card sales on online auction and marketplaces in the month of June. 5.2 million transactions, which was second to this past March when there was 5.6 million. 245 million of the sales were from eBay. 32 million from Golden, and 27 million on Fanatics Collect. 305 million. And eBay, I mean, eBay is king. I don't care what people want to say. eBay is clearly still the king of card sales. But I mean, some of this has to be Pokemon. Like a lot of this has to be Pokemon, right? Like the rise, and we'll talk about the grading numbers next, but yeah, a Pokemon craze right now is just off the charts, and these numbers, it makes the hobby look great, but like it makes you wonder where sports cards. I wish it was broken down by like trading card game and sports cards, but yeah, but still $300+ million in 1 month just in online sales is pretty big.
Pretty big. And $250 million, more than $250 million. I mean, to put it into perspective, that's absolutely bonkers. I did the math. It's about an average of $60 per transaction. So imagine, I mean, EP, you're doing, dollar cards, $2 cards. It's for it to get, and there's a lot of $1 card, $2 card sales, across the board.
More than half of it are the low end stuff.
So to put it at $60 per transaction just puts it in perspective on how many high end cards are selling. And almost $250 million. I told you guys I've been selling a lot. This this month has been pretty crazy for me. So I fall really into that. But yeah, it's crazy. I agree. It's probably a great deal amount of Pokemon cards. I really wish you said about breaking down, eBay could break that down for us because you have to pick the category. Why not? I mean, what I don't think that information would help or hurt eBay at all. So just throw it out there. I think it'd be interesting to see what that actually would break down to. But yeah, $250 million. I mean, and I was going to say July could be interesting, but with the national more in-person sales, so we won't really get to see that. But yeah, maybe the people with FOMO from not going to the national be spending some money online, regardless.
Very possible.
To think that is the most amount ever, and we had gone through COVID where people couldn't leave their houses and they were doing nothing but shopping online, is mind-blowing. That is now, I mean, we're 5 years away from being in the thick of it. I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about, that more transactions, more money wasn't spent in that period than it is now. It's absolute bonkers.
Where are all those people that were telling us that the hobby's dead and hobby's dying? Nobody's buying sports cards. Nobody's buying cards anymore. I mean, the like you said, Joe, billion, like a $250 million with a B. It's just insane. I wrote down when Mike started. When Mike started reading the breakdown, he said 245 million, and my brain went to Zion Williamson. Ha ha ha! But then my brain started going like what it could have been like Wemby. That's a lot of Wembys, but like that could have been Pikachu or could have been Charizard or 245 million Pokemon cards, right? I mean, there wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, a very, very large chunk of those cards are Pokemon cards. 100%. Like more. I bet you more than half are Pokemon cards, right?
Yeah, I would say definitely more than half.
The number of cards, for sure, but they don't have the super high-end cards.
Yeah.
So the number of transactions, it might be more than half, honestly, especially that $60 median, right? That feels like a good amount for a Pokemon, like ultra modern PSA 10, $60 to $100, right?
Yep.
But to get the $250 million, I think a lot of it is some of the high-end stuff selling. We've talked about Mantle selling for millions of dollars and Honus Wagner that sold but didn't sell. So I don't know.
There was only $1 million plus sale though in the month. So clearly sports cards have a way higher ceiling. Yeah. So a lot of the money is coming from those sales still. But yeah, there was only $1 million sale.
And that doesn't count transactions on social media, like a lot of like Mike, you just talked about your, hopeful fingers crossed transaction for those couple of Brady cards. It doesn't count like some of the stuff I've been buying from other, track or non-sports collectors. I mean, so imagine what the real dollar amount could potentially be in the month of June. I mean, if we're talking $250 million just in online trackable sales, not card shows, not person to person, like I'd love to know the real number.
Not LCSs too, right? Would you be surprised if it was, would you be surprised if it was like double, like or 500 half a million?
Surprised.
Yeah, an extra
probably half a million. Has to be $500,000, I'd say.
Half a bill.
Wow.
A B. That's a lot of money.
Billion.
Sorry, a billion. Crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, as much as the hobby's dying and Jeff Wilson's telling us all our ultra modern cards are going to zero, he didn't really say that. That was just the name of the video. I watched it. I did. Because I like to do that. But yeah, I mean, huge numbers. But you want to talk about huge numbers? I have some grading numbers for the first half of the year. Half the year's over already, folks. Half of it done.
Crazy.
Just gone. Just like that. PSA has graded 8.89 million cards so far in 2025. CGC has graded 2.18 million cards so far. SGC 962,000, Beckett 366. But where the story gets really interesting, of course, and this is something we talk about all the time, the growing popularity of Pokemon and how it's dominating card grading right now. PSA did 3.75 million sports cards and 5.13 million non-sports and trading card game. Sports card number is down 18% from last year for the first half of the year. And the non-sport and trading card game is up 72% from last year. CGC did 356,000 sports cards, which actually is up 189% for them, and 1.83 million non-sports and trading card games, up 91% for them. SGC's 914,000 sports cards and 48,000 for trading card game, and 151,000 for Beckett for sports cards, and 214,000. They don't really factor into this, but again, like, you're talking 1.5 million more cards, trading card game and non-sports, and it's growing. We've seen it month over month. That number and that percentage is just getting bigger and bigger. Like, it makes you wonder, like, we look at that first story and you think, oh, the hobby's great, but you dive into it, the sports card side of the hobby, I don't know what the numbers are, how many of those sales were sports cards, but I don't know if that part of the hobby is as strong as it used to be. Like, people would still be grading tons of cards, sports cards, if they had reason to. So why I understand why Pokemon is being graded more, because it's growing in popularity. More and more people are into it. Why is it that the sports cards are being graded less? Is it just there's no room? Is it that people are like, well, I can't get my cards graded because everybody's grading Pokemon? Or is it people switching, the flippers that want to make some money that used to go and buy retail out for sports cards are now doing it for Pokemon?
I think it's Joe pushing non-sports stuff.
Star Trek.
Well, all of a sudden, all of a sudden, here we go.
It is.
Rittenhouse, Star Trek.
It's
not Pokemon. It's the non-sports part
Star
of it.
Trek.
Yep.
And by the way, I strongly discourage people from grading Star Trek cards. Don't dare do that. The Nimoy that I picked up is a PSA 7. I love it. Because no one wanted it because it was a PSA 7, but the autograph was awesome. Give me all those PSA 7s. Come on. I think the last point you hit was the point. I think it's folks, the flippers are seeing a path of least resistance over on the Pokemon side, more so than sports now. It's easy for them to find the product. And once they find the product, they can grade everything. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, and EP, you follow Pokemon a little bit more than I do for sure. Is it like it used to be 5 years ago where people like Elite Go 3 were grading every base card that came out and just hoping for 10s on just base cards at this point, or whatever the equivalent of base cards are?
I don't think so. But every pack has a foil and a reverse foil in it typically, or a couple of reverse foils in it. So like, you're getting a lot of the parallels that are, not worth a ton of money, but if it looks sharp, I'm sure there are people like the big thing to look at is, the no chipping on the back and the centering are the two big things. Other than that, like, typically their cards are going to be fine.
And the quality control, from what I understand, is actually really, really good with,
a lot better,
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because Fanatics doesn't print those cards. 1.5 million a month on average is PSA, by the way. That's freaking crazy. What did you say Beckett was at, Mike? How much did they totally grade for the first 6 months?
366,000.
So that's like over $7 million worth of grading for Beckett at $20 a card. And I think they charge more than $20 a card with subgrades and all that. At $20 a card, that's still $7.5 million. Again, I've made this joke how many times. If you told Beckett they did 300 and some thousand submissions like 10 years ago, they'd be like, so there's no other grading companies? We're like, there's still a market for them. I don't know what their profit versus loss is, but the fact that they're still grading that many cards is kind of crazy at $20 a pop, probably closer to $30 a pop, to be honest. But, and I know a lot of folks grade non-sports with them. as well. Like Marvel people do still like Beckett quite a bit. But yeah, I think the story is the folks that were grading everything sports have either moved on or just, and I don't think this is the case, smartened up. Like, do you think, like, I don't think that sports card collectors, no offense to all of you who watch us out there, but I don't think by and large they smartened up to not grade everything. I think they're just grading they're either moved on, the flippers have moved on, or people are just sick of waiting. I mean, that's possible too. They're like, the opportunity cost of having this card being held in California, New Jersey, or down in Texas or in Florida, whatever, is too great of a risk time-wise that I could just sell this card now because of how quick sports cards can go up and down. Pokemon cards aren't doing that. There's not an at-bat for Pikachu, right? So, I mean, with every at-bat, with sports cards being able to go up and down like they do, I just think you don't have the time to have your money held for, 3 months to get a card graded at this point, at least. So that might be part of it too.
Yeah, and then it's exacerbated by the deals they were running with the Pokemon cards right at the beginning of the year. Because didn't PSA have at least like last year? I wonder, are these only cards that were submitted this year or cards that have been graded this year? Because I mean, they had that really good special for a while.
Cards that were graded this year, yeah.
Okay,
and don't forget about GameStop too.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of that too.
Speaking, let me just say a few more words. The SGC, the number 962, like you said, we're saying, Joe, for Beckett, like you tell SGC like 5 years ago, they're going to be grading almost a million cards by the midpoint of the year. They'd probably would have been ecstatic, but here they are, they're third on the rung. Like it's wild where we're at.
SGC is also the 914K sports cards is actually up 10% for them over last year. Yeah. So they're still growing in the sports card category. They were actually up 3% overall, even though nobody during this big trading card game boom and nobody uses them for that, but they're still growing even overall. So that's like, they're kind of like, I feel like they're forgotten about grader at the moment.
Yeah.
Like
since they've been bought by collectors, right? Like since they were second fiddle. Like they were like the number 2 grading company until they got bought. Now they're kind of an afterthought because they're owned by that company, I think.
Number 2 sports grading. I think they were number 3 behind CGC for overall grading for a while at this point. And that kind of buys into kind of the thought I had about people not wanting to wait to have cards graded. Well, if you definitely want your card graded and you don't want to wait, those folks might be thinking SGC is the way to go, even though their times have definitely slowed down. Mm-hmm. They're not at PSA slowed down levels because they're not getting the influx of those TCG cards. So, the fact that they're where they're at and they're holding steady and even have some growth, I think that might lend credence to what I was saying about people just don't want to wait for PSA to grade their cards at this point. Right. So maybe try someone like SGC, maybe try someone like Beckett, just to try and get those cards back quicker. Though I don't know about Beckett's turnaround times, to be honest. But to get your cards back quicker, SGC is probably still the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, a year ago, though, would you I don't think any of us would have bet a year ago that the second grading company would be almost to 25% of what PSA was doing. And that's where CGC is. Like, talk about flying under the radar. Yeah. That is crazy that they more than doubled their grading in the last year. And they still, as far as I know, have really good turnaround times, and their prices, they did raise them, but I still think they're cheaper than PSA. So they're flying under the radar to everybody that isn't PSA is kind of flying under the radar because PSA has dominated the grading, but CGC is just doing huge numbers. That kind of blows my mind, the amount of growth that they've shown in a year.
And I would, if I was going to take all my cards behind me and send them off to a grading company, it'd be CGC. I mean, they have the best slabs in the business, bar none. And I like their grading. I think they have solid grading. They have a huge company behind them, a huge investment firm behind them. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. They still are the kings of grading comic books, and they will be for a long, long time. So, like, 6 months from now, I'm really interested to see what that July to December is going to end up being, to see if they keep chipping away at PSA. I don't. People who have non-sports and TCG really love CGC, and it comes back to their history with that kind of stuff on the comic book side.
And the resale of their stuff is close enough to PSA that they're a viable option if you don't want to wait to get the stuff back from PSA.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask if either of you guys knew the comparison of the prices, and also, like, if you're looking at the numbers here, like they're a Pokemon and non-sports stuff is up 91%. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's a stretch to say that they will grade possibly more of those in the second half of the year, right? Since it's already up 90%.
That's without having GameStop behind them,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, imagine, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Imagine if GameStop wanted to buy PSA or vice versa, and they were like, no, we're good. And GameStop was like, fine, we'll go with CGC. Could you imagine that would, you want to talk about flipping the hobby on its ear? Like, that would do it. If GameStop and the amount of TCG cards that would be going into grading, take those away from PSA and give them to CGC. Now what are we talking about in terms of numbers? So I don't know. Maybe PSA might want to sell to GameStop to keep their dominance.
I would just, to finish my thought, I wouldn't be surprised if they get that number up to 5 million by the end of the year, right? So you think about the number 2 company grading 5 million cards. They're at 2.18 million right now. Like, it's very possible that if they continue that growth, because are
there Pokemon sets coming out in the next 6 months?
That was one of the things I was going to talk about with the Pokemon stuff too. Like, they're, like you said, Joe, they're always have stuff coming out, because there's something coming out every 3 months, 4 months, something like that. There's like a new set within the overall set that's coming out every couple months. So there's always something new to be graded. Always stuff available to grade.
I have some other interesting numbers here. Non-sports and trading card games made up 59% of all cards that were graded in the first half of the year. This one blows my mind. Pokemon cards were in 97 of the top 100 individually graded cards for the first 6 months of the year.
Wild.
The number one graded
card
was a Pokemon card called Iono's Wattrel Battle Partners Promo Japanese. There were
yeah.
You have a couple of those, right?
One or two, I think.
It wouldn't surprise me, because there were 45,600 of that card graded in the first half of this year. The highest graded sports card, 10,500.
Wow.
So over 4 times more. I know who it is, but I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, damn it. He's got a list.
Yeah, I have a list for the end. But yeah, so 97 of the top 100 cards graded for the first half of 2025 were Pokemon cards.
I'm not great at math, but that's a lot. It's a high percentage.
Yeah, that's
cards.
Almost
like 98%.
That's over 50%. Yeah.
That's almost 98%. Actually, it was very funny. What's mind blowing is, I hope that people who are doing this, who are buying these cards, right, the end user, will figure out that that's not a rare card. I hope, but are we getting to end users with Pokemon cards, right? Like, you got the people buying the boxes, ripping them, sending them off to be graded, then selling to someone who thinks that they can then sell them to someone else, and then so on and so on. I would hope, like the young woman who we saw in that hobby documentary, are smart enough to know that those cards are not rare. So you have this this fake scarcity, because you're putting into a piece of plastic and it's got a number on it, but it's not actually a rare card. And I'm worried, because we saw it happen with sports cards. I'm worried for actual Pokemon collectors and players who get sucked into this, like sport card collectors have. So, Like, I don't know. It's just like, hearing those numbers that a card was graded 4,000 and some odd times in a month, or was it in 6 months? I'm sorry. In 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months.
In 6 months is just mind blowing. And I hope those actual true collectors get educated on not buying stuff like that, because it's not actually rare at that point.
I think in the Pokemon realm, I think there are more of the true collectors buying the cards, a PSA 10 of like a random whatever, just because there's not as many high end things. There are definitely people looking to flip, but then there are also, one of the things about the Pokemon cards is every time there's a new set that comes out, it changes the like meta of the game itself, and some more of these other cards of other characters become more popular again, and so the prices will fluctuate a little bit, and there might be people looking to play that market. But I think a lot of the time, a lot of Pokemon collectors are people looking at this. That's my favorite version of, Pikachu or whatever. I want to get a PSA 10 of that card. And I think there's a lot more of those kinds of transactions compared to the sports hobby, which again is that it's very, very much a flipping oriented hobby, I think.
Yeah, crazy numbers for sure. But we talked about other crazy numbers last week. We talked about the Panini WNBA rookie royalty boxes that were going on sale. We didn't have what the final outcome of that was. They were starting at $30,000 a box. Now you remember, don't you? They ended up hitting the floor at $3,000, which is, I don't know if it's surprising or not. That's a long drop, but then again, $30,000. Let's be real. But the thing is, now they're selling on eBay for over $8,000. What are we doing? Like, say whatever you want about Pokemon collectors and buying, graded Pokemon cards. Sports card collectors are absolute freaking
Oh, they
morons.
still rule the roost. They rule the roost of morons.
Who in the hell is paying over $8,000 a box for something they could have bought for $3,000 less than a week ago?
Sports card collectors. You're
What are
literally
we doing? Well, it's probably sports card breakers, people that want to go on Whatnot and weren't able to get it and might have forgot to get it that day or didn't realize it dropped so much. It has to be breakers. There aren't people buying this to rip. There can't. Please tell me there aren't.
Or what if it's somebody who bought 10 boxes and trying to drive up the price? So when they get their boxes or whatever, they can, sell their prices.
That could be too. I mean, it could be easily manipulated, but there are quite a few sales of over $8,000. It's crazy. And, funny thing too, the day after it dropped all the way down, Backyard Breaks had a ton of this stuff that they were breaking. So I feel like Panini is like, okay, well, we don't care. We'll just Backyard Breaks will they probably have a deal that, well, when it gets to the floor, we'll take whatever at the floor. And they must have had it. They had a ton of it. But holy crap. The cheapest one on eBay I saw to buy it now is $14,000 right now. And there was currently an auction running and it was over $8,000. You guys wouldn't let me buy this with our little card collection money that we've done some investing with. I wanted to buy this stuff at $3,000. You said no.
We don't have that much money, do we?
Yes.
Yeah, we could have got it on the floor.
Could have got a box that could have made you $5,000 profit like that.
Yeah.
I'm the investment guy. You guys know that.
None of us thought that would sell for this much in the secondary market, right? Like we didn't think.
No,
there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I didn't think it would sell for that much on the Dutch auction,
right?
Let alone the secondary market after. And I watched it. I was sending you guys updates, right? I kept refreshing my screen. It held at that 3,000 for a little while too. It wasn't sold out like right when it hit 3,000. I would love to know. By the way, I love you 3,000 for some reason. It has stuck in my head since that. It's a Avengers quote, Mike. It's what his daughter said to him. Anyway, you seem confused. I had to clarify, but
explain it after.
I'll never remember that. What are we talking about? But like, I'm wondering who bought at what level. Like, how many boxes did they sell at 30,000? How many at 15? How much at 5? How much then at 3? Like, were all these people waiting? Are the people that bought it at 5 being like, shit, I need to get this on eBay and hope that people didn't realize that it hit the floor? And I'm looking at some of the prices of some of the actual cards. Like Caitlin Clark went for $12,000. Her Kaboom went for $12,000. A Sneaker Noir autograph card out of 5 went for $11,000. So think about that. If you buy it on the secondary market, you need to hit a card like that and not the Angel Reese auto and some random non-Caitlin Clark Kaboom. Like you're only making money. And I said this last week, do not buy this on the secondary market. Do not buy this in the secondary market. Those boxes are going to be searched 1,000%. So I would caution you for the viewers out there that watch our stuff who are buying rookie royalty in boxes for $10,000. For you unicorns, please do not buy it on the secondary market because you're going to get scammed. And unless you get a Caitlin Clark, you're kind of hosed.
Also, I wouldn't buy the cards in the secondary market. Those prices are outrageous. Like you can probably get really cool Caitlin Clark autographs and stuff like that for $1,000 or $5,000, right? From other sets. I just have a feeling this is one of those products where the people that live in that high end world are going to continue to buy and sell them at the super high levels to keep the prices up, and they're going to be flipping them back and forth to each other with they're playing with their monopoly money. And I think that's what this product is. It's probably not for many of the people that watch our channel for sure.
That I do want to make one point real quick too, that so as I'm going through some of these sales, the Caitlin Clark rookie royalty noir gold spotlight, beautiful card, number to 25, sold at auction, 49 bids for just under $7,000. Imagine buying a box on eBay after tax and shipping for like $9,000, and you pull an out of 25 gold auto of Caitlin Clark and you sell it, and you can't even make up the difference. Like, what? Because you're not getting then a Caitlin Clark Kaboom. You're getting a lesser player and a lesser insert for sure. Angel Reese's same card. And here's the other flip side of that. Angel Reese's same card, noir gold autograph, numbered out of 25, went for $2,000. That's still a lot of money. But the delta is pretty big if you're going to open up an $8,000 to $9,000 box of cards. So just don't do it.
Do we think the prices on the individual cards and or the boxes go down within like 2 years from now? Do you think any of the prices of these things go down? Or do you think they continue to go up or stay the same?
Depends on how Caitlin Clark does. Like if Caitlin Clark is LeBron James or Michael Jordan or whatever, and we see that she wins a championship next couple of years, I can see sealed boxes of this being very similar to sealed boxes of some of the other premium stuff from like the 2020 NFL premium stuff, like holding that value. Okay. Now, if Angel Reese turns into something, now you're talking stratosphere, right? But the individual cards, especially if Caitlin Clark, they aren't going anywhere. They're going up, if anything, in my opinion. But that's a lot of autos to flood the market, though, is the problem.
And the issue with this kind of product is you're putting all these high end in there, but all the one of ones will be tracked. So the price might be dependent on what may still be left in it or what is known to have been pulled out of it too. So
the one of one, Prism, those boxes.
The 101 Caitlin Clark Kaboom was already pulled. So if you're ripping it, you have no shot of getting that card. It's already pulled. It doesn't exist anymore. So if the biggest cards of her, and you gotta figure most of this stuff is probably going to be ripped, right? I don't see a lot of people keeping this product. There will maybe be maybe people that have way more money than they would know what to do with. Maybe if we would have spent our money on it and bought it, we would have kept ours for 20 years.
No, what? No, what?
I would have flipped that right away. But maybe them. But I don't know if all the really big one-on-ones are out of it. What's it worth?
Yeah, that's a great point because you have, I was mentioning like the Luka 101 out of Prism that Josh Luber keeps going after. Those boxes are very, very expensive right now. If that card gets pulled, it craters, right? I mean, so to your point, once those 101s, that's an interesting question. How many 101s of Caitlin Clark are in this product? Panini loves to put 101s in their stuff. Not that other companies don't, but they're not as bad as Leaf, but it's pretty bad. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are multiple 101s of this. but again, flooding the market, like a lot of, to EP's point, this might be a decent time as all these cards are flooding the market to find one of her lower end sets that you really, really just want to have a Caitlin Clark autograph card. Maybe this is the time to go and find one because everyone's being distracted by these higher level ones. Maybe you could go and get one for your PC a little bit cheaper because everyone's spending money on the other stuff.
You want me to go look to buy with our card investment money?
Now that I would be okay. A little bit more okay with.
A little bit more okay.
A little bit more okay.
Okay, well, if I can't use that money, maybe I'll be able to use the new collector's card. A new collector's card credit card. The tagline is,
I was joking.
buy groceries, earn points toward a Charizard. So, or Caitlin Clark, or whatever you want there. Yeah. This is
I almost died. Thanks for, by the way.
New credit card being pointed toward collectors. They have planned perks, including cash back, grading discounts, vaulting perks, which I don't really even know what that means, and other exclusive drops of product. They plan to offer lower interest rates by collateralizing the collection held in a vault. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but they're going to give you lower rates if you have cards as collateral stored in a vault.
Wow.
That means they're going to take your cards if you don't make your payment.
Well, yeah, but they're going to give you a lower rate. Collector's card, credit card. We're all in, right? I believe the first 5,000 of them too. They are serial numbering the credit card between.
See, I don't know if you're jagging with me or not.
No,
is that real?
That is real.
My!
None of this is being made up. I don't have to make anything up because the story is what it is.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
This could be an April Fool's
card
movie.
out. Who's
Some guy.
Is it really just some guy?
Yeah, it's a guy. Some guy.
Do we know who the guy is?
I did have his name, but I didn't feel like it was.
But it's not like
relevant to the
it's
story.
not
a
through a
bank.
major company. It's
No,
not a
it's
bank.
not.
It's just
Yeah,
What?
it's a guy.
okay.
Just
Okay,
with his
number
own
one.
funds? Like, what?
I don't know how that works.
How does that work?
Can we start our own credit card? Is that a thing we can do now?
Apparently we can. So if you want the Mike's Retro Trading Cards credit card, just leave us a little holla down in the comments there.
We'll only do like top 50, first 50.
Oh,
Not zero
that'll
numbers.
be-
We'll
we'll have
more
several
fucking-
101s. We'll have several 101s. First off, the overarching thing is don't put the hobby on a credit card, no matter what you do. That's just we say
But
it
this
enough.
is changing that, Joe.
Don't
You
listen to
can-
Mike. Don't
you
listen to what
can
Mike's saying
earn
right now.
points toward Charizard.
You can
cards.
buy your
You can
Charizard
earn
and your points towards
on
more
any
Charizards.
credit card. If you do decide to use a credit card for the hobby, just pay it off every month. Don't get into the whole paying
Boring.
interest. Yeah, boring. Some financial advice here by Joe Day.
But
Don't
Joe, I
on
can
your
get a
credit card
lower
supplement.
rate if I collateralize my collection in their vault.
Yeah, don't do that either. I mean, all of this
Come
the red flags flying all over the place. Like,
Green
This-
flags over here. I'm all in.
oh my god! See, this is why we were like, I don't think we should buy that rookie royalty. I mean, the advice, the investment advice this guy's given, I don't know. But joking aside, it's very, very disconcerting that this is not like a bank backed card. Like,
That's scary.
unless there's something we don't know, like it just seems like very, very dangerous to do. So get a real credit card if you're going to get a credit card and pay it off every month, I guess is the only thing I can say to that.
Or maybe
Boring.
everybody should go and get one of these cards and try to bankrupt this guy and take all of his cards.
EP, we would never suggest anything like that. That was totally in jest.
I prefer that to what you're telling them. I got to be honest.
Well, I don't. What was the rate? What's the rate if you don't collateralize your
They didn't give specific
It's
rates.
like
I'm
40%,
guessing over
40%.
30%.
Yeah.
Way
It's
over
ridiculous,
30%.
right?
But it's lower if you collateralize your collection in the vault.
And you can buy Pikachu to get more Pikachu.
No
Every time you buy a
Charizard.
Pikachu, every time you buy a Charizard,
Buy
you just-
groceries, earn points toward a Charizard. I love it.
By the way, I will say, if you are
We
good
all
with
buy
your
groceries.
If you're good with credit cards, you're not a crazy person and just run them up and then don't pay them off every month. I have a PayPal credit card and I love it. I get 3% when I buy
those.
What's that?
You have to pay credit.
Yeah, you have to pay those.
Payments on
Mike.
credit cards.
As we see like movers coming in and moving shit out of Mike's house because he hasn't been paying his bills. But yeah, PayPal, it's like 3% cash back. I love that. Anytime I use it for eBay or anything online, I use PayPal, 3% cash back. Oh, and it's backed by a bank. Ain't that cool?
Are these dropped? Are these out now, or do you have to still wait for them?
No, you can sign up to be part of the first 5,000 though, so you can get your serial numbered card.
Because I was gonna say, would have been genius to drop this the same time Ricky Royalty came out. People will be using that to buy some Ricky Royalty boxes. Yeah.
It's like putting a Girl Scout cookie table right by a pot dispensary. You got to think. You got to be thinking outside the box with some of this stuff.
All the people that rip it, though, can now collateralize their collection if it's in the vault.
Oh, no.
Like I like to do, and then you get a lower rate. So I am all about collateralizing my collection. Absolutely.
You really are.
I love that term in case you haven't noticed.
I picked up on that. The Nimoy auto I bought was in the PSA vault because it was a PSA. By the way, I bought something from PSA, which is very strange.
Nice.
But it's in the PSA vault, and they kept like asking me, "Are you sure you want us to send you this?"
Yeah.
Yes, I want the actual physical card in my possession, please. I know it's real boring guy over here.
Did they tell you? But then you won't be able to collateralize your collection.
Yeah.
Oh,
drinking game.
Well.
Drinking game.
Well, I mean, from one joke, don't get yourself in credit card debt over the hobby. Just don't do that. We're not joking.
Yeah.
And transition to something a little more serious here because again, we talk a lot and we have been talking a lot about the dangers of breaking and buying cards and buying boxes from the LCS. This hobby can be addictive, and I'm glad to see there's more and more being said about it. People are being able to speak out about it and not feeling, because a lot of people in this hobby will go, "Oh, you're just an idiot. Why do you do that?" Like, no. People sometimes have problems being able to control their impulses, and it can happen.
Hits, baby. Dopamine
Absolutely.
hits.
There is so much in this hobby that is easy to get addicted to. Now there is actually a legitimate place to get help, and this is really cool. It is called Collectors. I'm sorry, I can't even say it right. Collectors MD. It is at collectorsmd.com. It was started by someone named Alex Efron. It was just a bunch of resources to help people that were struggling get help. They had weekly anonymous support groups, but they have now partnered with Birch's Health, which when we had our big discussion about gambling, we talked about a friend that had a problem. That was the one place online when I typed in sports card addiction that came up, Birch's Health, and the Collectors MD has partnered with them that you can now receive treatment from specialized counselors about this, which is also really cool. They're also partnering with another company called, I believe, GameBan, a GAMBAN, and it is an online blocking tool. So because we talk all the time about how Fanatics Live doesn't want you to be able to self-exclude, this company helps you be able to exclude yourself from some of the biggest breaking apps. So since the companies won't do the right thing themselves, there is a company out there that will do it. So I like the setup of this. I like that there's help out there for people that need it. This hopefully will get more press than us talking about it, because let's be real, we don't have the reach that something like this deserves. But I really hope the hobby picks up on this, and people can point to, go here. If you see somebody talking about having an issue, don't be afraid to let them know there's help out there from this website. Again, it's collectorsmd.com, and they can go there. They can find all kinds of help. This is long overdue, but I'm really happy to see something like this in our hobby. This is the good in the hobby. People trying to help people that have a problem. Finally, something good we can talk about. Not
the good to fix the bad, right? I mean, at the end of the day, and yeah, like Dustin needs to be talking about this. Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics needs to be talking about this. Dan the Card Man needs to be talking about this. Jeff Wilson should be talking about this.
Absolutely.
I named those three because they actually might. Jeff Wilson probably not so much. So, but yeah, those medium level channels, if they start talking about this, and you know, I'm gonna pat us on the back a little bit. We started talking about this a while ago. I'm glad other channels are starting to pick up on it. I'm glad there's a resource. Again, channels bigger than us, way bigger than us. Those are the ones that need to be talking about it. But yeah, it's not as simple as I'll just stop. Man, you get that dopamine hit the first time. That's all it takes, right? So yeah, I'm glad there's a resource. I'm hopeful that it gets a little bit more press than us. But you know, if you know someone, I guarantee you we each know someone who could probably benefit from something like this. So if you know someone who can, let them know. And what, EP?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was like, EP is the cheapest man alive. What are we talking about?
He's ripping all that wax, buying
all that 90s wax, all that 90s wax. Imagine how much
ultra modern stuff, man.
That's true. You Mr. Ultra Modern. But yeah, if you know someone, let them know about the resource, because it can be an embarrassing topic. It really can be if you know, people don't want to admit that they fucked up and they need to, you know, kind of recenter themselves. So yeah, hopefully this gets out a little bit bigger than us.
Yeah, we have a friend of the channel who talked about this. So we talked about it on a show a while back. Joe is self-excluded from a casino, and like back in the day, back in the 90s, like listen, I had a credit card, and they just kept raising the amount of money I was able to spend on it, because I would go up the level, and they would look at my credit. My credit was great because I was fresh out of college and there was nothing on there, so they just kept raising it. And so I got
collateralized.
Yes,
that's the word. Yeah. At the vaults, yeah.
So I had a pretty huge credit card debt there for a while, you know, back in the late 90s, early 2000s ish. And I would never want to go back there. That's a horrible way to be. The issue, I think this is a fantastic idea. The doctor specifically for this. We're in a dopamine addicted society. We watch TikTok videos, we watch short videos. They give us a dopamine hit like this and like this and like this, and so we're just inundated with it. No matter where we go, every news station is there's sound bites. So everything is like a dopamine hit, and then that leads into the gambling. People want the same kind of type of hit. What is so insidious about this hobby is that everybody, well, not everybody, of present company excluded, everybody's saying, well, the hobby's not gambling. It's not, but it's not. You know, it's way better than gambling. It's way safer than gambling. And I think that's where the bigger issue is, that the people look at it and think, well, it's not gambling because I'm still getting a box of cards. I'm still getting cards. I'm being part of a community, so it's not really gambling, but it is, and it has the same effect on your finances. So that's why I love this concept. I love this idea. I'm glad that somebody's out there doing this.
And it definitely has the same effect on your brain. Right? Yeah. You open up a box of cards and you don't get anything. You think, oh, well, the next one.
Right. I'm due. Yep.
Or reverse that. You open up a box of cards and get a killer card. You're like, I'm on a hot streak. Like the amount of like telling yourself the gambler's lie, right? Well, if I take this money from this and I'll be fine. And I kind of broke even because I got a free meal, you know, like the gambler's justification is so similar when you talk about actually gambling, like in the casino or online, you know, on your phone, and with cards, like they're using a lot of the same terms. So yeah, it's, I lost that hand of blackjack, I'll just double my bet. And because I can't lose two in a row, and then you keep going and back and forth like that. Or, I just won, I'm going to stack and double my bet. Like the justification is wild. And it's the same thing with cards.
How much longer before Fanatics Live starts giving you like a voucher to go eat at McDonald's or something?
Wait, didn't they have a Subway?
Did they already have a deal with them?
Did they have a
Subway? Was it Subway or
Subway.
Jimmy John? Jimmy John.
It was one of those. Yeah. They already did that, Mike. What are we talking about?
They didn't give the free meal though. You just got breaking credit if you bought at Jimmy
okay.
John's. So it needs to go the other way.
The reverse,
I wish I were joking about that, but yeah, it's something. Yeah, they will give perks. All right. Well, one thing that gives me a lot of joy in this hobby is making you guys pick names off of a list. So that's what I'm going to do today, because I have the list of the top 10 graded players so far in the year 2025. We talked about the grading numbers earlier. I wouldn't give you the name of the football player that was the most graded because I have a list here. I have 10 names on this list, and I will be incredibly disappointed if you guys do not get all 10 with no misses.
This is all sports.
All sports. These are from January 1st to June 30th. How many? These are the top 10 players that had cards graded in that time period.
As defending champion, I get to go first, correct?
I know what you're going to do, and I'm trying to figure out if I feel like, that would be good. Go ahead, Joe. Yeah. You are defending champion.
Defending champion. Who should I pick? Not Angel Reese. Let's go Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark at number 5.
Yeah. EP would have never guessed her.
Never.
So I'm so glad that I was able to.
76,000 cards graded so far.
EP's out already.
He's out.
Victor Wembanyama.
Victor Wembanyama is number 4 with 81,000.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is number 1 with 124,000 plus. He was the top graded card in that list of 100. His 2024 Prism base has had 10,500 cards graded. Not 45,000 like Iono's Watril Battle Partners promo Japanese,
Again, I think I have 1 or 2 of those potentially.
Yeah. All right, EP.
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei is number 3 with 94,000.
Pittsburgh boy, Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens at number 6, 66,000 cards graded. You guys are doing well. 2, 3, 5. Like no whammies.
We need number 2 though. That's we haven't come up with number 2 yet.
You have not. You have not gotten number 2 yet. No whammies here, EP.
I'm definitely getting the first whammy. I can tell that.
I'm sure you are. Yeah. We count on it.
Well, the issue is that I know there's another quarterback from the class with Jaden Daniels, but I can't think the name of the quarterback. So that's my issue.
Wow.
So I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes.
Incorrect.
The quarterback you were groping for there was Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams is number 8 with 42,000, which is less combined. The number 1 pick in the NFL draft, a quarterback, all of his cards combined is less than the most graded individual Pokemon card. Let that sink in. What are we doing, Pokemon collectors?
They're like, well, it worked out for sports card collectors. Let's do what they did. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
EP, you're up.
I'm going to get a half a point for that because I actually gave him the idea for that.
Yeah, no, that was in my head the entire time.
No, I get a half point for that. Is Jalen Hurts on the list?
No, he is not.
Oh my God, EP.
2 whammies.
Let's see.
A lot of dead air going on here.
There is. I'm gonna. Drake
need
May.
An answer. Drake May is number 9.
Really?
With 42,000 cards.
Is EP going to give himself half of a point for that since he said quarterback from this class?
He will.
Let's see if EP Whammy's out here. You get one more without a whammy before I officially win.
Oh,
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan is number 2.
That was my next guess. I should have done that instead of Drake May.
So we have number 7 and number 10 left.
I'm just gonna go on the streak again and try Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is actually number 7.
I thought he'd be number 10.
Wow.
Okay.
He has more cards graded than Caleb Williams, which is interesting. So,
does he have autographs and Panini products? I don't think he does, actually. I was thinking maybe because he has.
I don't know if he does or not. I'm not sure if he's part of the Fanatics deal or not. We should know that, but we talk about so much that we talk about it, we know all about it, and then we forget it because we're talking about everything.
100%.
This is not the right answer, but Madden cover boy Saquon Barkley.
Incorrect. That's your third whammy there, EP. I'm sorry. You are eliminated from the competition.
There's one left.
Perfect.
One left.
Michael Penix.
No, incorrect.
Okay. What sport, Mike? Give it to us.
At number 10 is a football player. 38,000 cards graded of a player who did not play one
JJ
snap.
McCarthy.
Wow.
It was between him or Penix with my guess. Yeah, it was between him or Penix because people are gearing up for this season with his cards.
But this is for the whole year, though, right?
Right.
Now, he does have autographs and Panini
in
stuff,
both.
So
he is both, I believe.
Yeah. They did a pretty good job. EP got 3 wrong as usual. That sounds about right. But
I did get number 2.
Said I took Penix over JJ.
I got 2, 3, and 4. Come on now. And I got half a point for Caleb Williams.
But you're basically saying you got the easy ones.
What do you mean I got the easy ones?
2, 3, and 4 are the second, third, and fourth.
I got the best ones. And I got half of Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so you got 3 and you got 3.5. EP. Good job.
No. Well, since we have a little bit of time left, let's throw this out there at the end. I watched Dustin, the Sports Card Dad's video about the Topps Chrome Marvel and the Disney stuff and how ridiculous it is and the ridiculous amounts of money people are paying for the autographed cards in these. Like, these are not even autographed by Goofy and Daisy Duck, and like they're facsimiles on them, and people are spending hundreds of dollars on these. Why? I agree. The tone of his video is people just freaking stop it. There are actors out there or creators of stuff that could sign this. Why do this and why spend money on it? And I was just watching it going like, yeah, why?
I've been complaining about this since the
there was
UK
like
version.
$800 Spider-Man autograph.
Yeah. The UK version of Topps Chrome Marvel had these. And I said, these are going to come over to America and people are going to pay for them. And my God, I love being right, but I didn't want to be right on this one. It all comes down to like, people because it's limited, right? Well, it's limited, even though it's a stupid card and the concept's dumb, it's limited. So like, I got to get this limited card. And that's what it comes to. And it's so frustrating. And I didn't watch Dustin's video. I'm a little backlogged because of July 4th, I'll say, and the hangover. But to that point about you saying about there are actual autograph actor cards and things like that, you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars when you can go pick up some of the, like you can pick up a Chris Hemsworth's Thor actual autograph card. If you want a low numbered card or a low parallel or a short printed parallel or something, there are much cooler cards than these cards. Like, it's not a good autograph card because it's not really an autograph card and it's not really a cool looking card. So why are you buying it? I'm kind of surprised they're actually on card autos and Topps didn't put stickers. I gotta be honest. Are you wait for that one? Wait for that one.
Great. That would be so I would
great.
Lose.
And
social parallel.
I want to say Cryptozoic used to make totally not authentic relic cards, and they used to put like from Rick and Morty, there'd be like a piece of Rick's lab coat or something like that, something completely over the top, making fun of companies like Panini and Topps. Like I would like that if they were at least a little like making fun of themselves, but they're not. People are taking these cards seriously, and they are putting them in products like they're serious cards. So it's just absolute. And if you are a Marvel content creator and you're not calling this shit out, it just means that you just want to like Marvel card. Like you aren't seeing the what's actually going on, and you just are just happy to have Marvel cards.
Yeah,
you'll miss Upper Deck.
You don't want to not get cards from Topps,
right? Right. Yeah, and you're going to miss Upper Deck way sooner than later.
Yeah, this is like a Pavlovian response, I think, for a lot of people in the hobby, collectors who have pulled an auto or they understand all the autos an important thing. So they see these cards and they think that. And it might be a unique collectible, but it's not hundreds of dollars unique. Like that's the issue. What makes an autograph unique is the athlete actually held it in their hand, and or they held the sticker in their hand when they signed it, and they signed it physically with a pen. I mean, in theory, we've had a few instances, Lionel Messi, where maybe they haven't been signing, but I mean, still, that's
Prescott or,
right, yeah. So, but that's what people think, and then so like even these are fake autos. People are still reacting to them that way, and like you guys both said, there are definitely options out there, better options out there. You could spend your money, spend that hundreds of dollars on to get an actual autograph of an actual human being person.
And I mentioned before we started recording, Fleer came out with a Scooby-Doo set. I haven't watched any rips of it. I heard it's a ton of fun though. Mike, you love the Looney Tunes. You thought that was a ton of fun.
That was so much fun. Yeah.
So the Fleer, I think it's Fleer tradition style. I think Looney Tunes was as well. Mm-hmm. They have fake memorabilia, like a piece of the tire from the Mystery Machine. And I love stuff like that. Like that takes some creativity to do. This is not creative. This is just lazy. And it's like we need to have autographs in Topps Chrome, and we don't care about the artist. And they do have some artist cards, to be fair, but they're nowhere near as prevalent as they were in Upper Deck products, Marvel and the like. So
yeah, again, like I've been saying for a while, I think there are a lot of decisions being made in Fanatics where people just being made by people who don't care about the collectors, and people down the line don't care about the collectors, and it's just, this is easy. We can just do it. We can just make a facsimile autograph and put it on the card, and people will be fine with it. And it seems like people are fine with it. Where I wonder how many people, if you showed them that card, how many people in the hobby would, and what like the difference in ages of people who would look at that card and say, well, why do you care about that? Compared to the people who are like, oh my God, it's amazing.
People our age and older would be the ones who are like, are you kidding me with this thing? And then that's the younger folks, I think. But then, I mean, who knows? I mean, there are stupid people in all age groups. So
I guarantee you, though, at some point in time, if you have that Spider-Man autograph from Topps Chrome, 10 years down the road, you go to sell it, comic book collector is going to look at it, you're going to take it in, you're going to be all proud of yourself because you have Spider-Man's auto, and they're going to look at you and they're going to go, that's really fucking stupid.
I'll give you $2 for it.
Just saying, just something to think about.
Hopefully his auto stays consistent over the next 10 years, because I'll tell you what, as players get older, their autos kind of look at Pele. I mean, when he started, his crisp auto, but as he got older, hopefully Spider-Man's can stay consistent.
Spider-Man doesn't age, though. So
yeah, that's true. So they better be perfect.
They'll be fine. They better be perfect.
No streaky
I'm sure
autos.
they will be. They'll probably somehow strangely all look exactly the same.
What?
I don't know. All right, guys, that was a pretty good chat this week. I will see you next week. See you guys.
See you, boys.
Adios.